Hello, I'm your Shelby County Register of Deeds, Shelandra wife Ford, and I would like to welcome you to our second annual Black History program, where we honor those who had a significant impact on Memphis and Shelby County. This year's honorees are Orange Mound historian Mary Jones Mitchell, former Memphis City Mayor Willie W. Herenton, Memphis City Court Clerk Myron Lowery, and radio talk show host Bev Johnson with WDIA Radio. So sit back and relax and enjoy. Thank you.
My name is Myron Lowery. I'm the Memphis City Court Clerk. I came to Memphis, years ago after graduating from high school in Columbus, Ohio. While I was in high school, I was a member of the choir, Student Government Association, the president, and a lot of other extracurricular activities which sort of built the foundation when I came to Memphis. I came to Memphis for one reason, Lemoyne College. It was Lemoyne then, not Lemoyne-Owen. And I spent 4 years at Lemoyne, majoring in sociology. I was in the choir, student government, and exchange student. And when I graduated from Lemoyne-Owen College, I went to New York City. I taught in New York City for 3 years as a member of the teacher corps. And that helped me to pay back my student loans by working in the teacher corps. And once a year, the former president of Lemoyne College, Dr. Hollis Price, would come to New York and we'd sit down and talk. And he asked me if I would like to change careers. I said, doing what? He said, as a broadcaster. I said, sure. Well, he recommended me for a program at Columbia University. And I was interviewed by WMC TV, Channel 5. I went through a 16-week program there, learning how to broadcast, how to interview, and I came to Memphis as the first full-time African-American reporter on Channel 5. I did that for 12 years. During that time, I produced a show called Minority Report. There was nothing like it on the air. We focused on the achievements of ordinary African Americans, and it ran once a month. And I received a national award for that program, for a program I did on Mount Bayou, Mississippi, the hospital, which was being forced to close in that all-black town. Well, after being with WMC TV for 12 years, I went back to teaching here in the Memphis City school system. I taught broadcasting at 3 schools, Hillcrest, Melrose, and Central. Then Congressman Harold Ford said, how would you like to be a press secretary? Wonderful. So I went to Washington for 2 years with Congressman Harold Ford. We worked back and forth, Memphis and Washington. And after 2 years, I stopped and decided to run for the city council. When I first ran in 1983, I knew I was going to win. Everybody knew my name because I had been on television for 12 years. I lost. I ran again 4 years later, 1987. I lost. This did not discourage me. I ran again in 1991 and I won. I beat a Republican who had never been defeated before. So at that point, I didn't look back. I was elected 6 consecutive times, more than anyone else on the city council. I served chairman 5 times, again, more than anyone else on the city council. I also served as chairman of the Memphis Charter Commission. We made several recommendations to change the charter to the citizens of Memphis, and all 7 were accepted. Then I retired from the city council after 24 years. My son ran in my place, but he lost. So at this point, I was retired for 4 years. I decided to come back to public service by running for the city court clerk, and I won. So I'm the only person that you will know right now who served as a leader in all branches of city government. Legislative, chairman. I forgot to tell you, I served as mayor pro tem for 3 months when Dr. Herenton resigned in 2009. And now I'm head of the Judicial Department as the City Court Clerk. So it's been a very rewarding career in education and as a public servant, and I've loved every minute of it. When I look back on my career in public service, I'm particularly proud of my New Year's Day prayer breakfast and my New Year's Day jazz champagne brunch. I've been doing the prayer breakfast for 29 years and the jazz champagne brunch with collard greens, chitlins, and champagne on the same day at the same venue for 26 years. And because of those two events, I've been able to donate to more than 220 nonprofit organizations here in Memphis and the Mid-South. So I'm particularly proud of the New Year's Day prayer breakfast and jazz champagne brunch. I'm also proud of the Done with Guns program and my guns buyback program. When I first started this, it had never been done before in Memphis. I got Kroger to partner. Kroger gave away food cards in exchange for a gun. The first day, in 8 hours, we collected 1,200 guns at the Pipkin building at the fairgrounds, and we gave everyone a Kroger card. That program was so successful, we did it several times. I also started the Done with Guns program for high school students. We did this at the Civil Rights Museum. I had speakers to come in to talk about the dangers of using a gun, to talk about gun safety. We gave away gun locks. So I'm particularly proud of Done with Guns, my gun buyback program, and my New Year's Day events. So those things will live on long after I'm gone. I think I want to be known as a man who tried to make changes in the best interest of everyone in our community. I listened to people. I listened to community residents. I went to community meetings. And I didn't say it was my way or the highway. I always knew and know there's someone smarter than me, and I listened. I was a good listener. When I was younger, I didn't like to listen to people. I dealt with things the way I wanted to deal with them. As I've matured, I realized that it's best to accept advice from other people and to listen. So, if you have anything to do in life, give something back to someone else. Public service. Work as a volunteer. Each one teach one. Work for the boys club, the girls club. Work in your church, in your community. Make this community stronger tomorrow than it is today. And I'd like for you to do this in remembrance of me. That sounds a little biblical, but that's what I would like to be known for. Legacy means doing something that you will be remembered for. My legacy as a public servant will stand for a long time. 24 years on the council, 5 years as chairman, mayor pro tem for 3 months, Memphis City Court Clerk, and Memphis chairman of the Charter Commission. It also means passing it on. I passed on my desire for public service to my son, and I'm extremely proud of my Mikkel, that's his name. Hold on, let me tell you something everybody doesn't know. His full name is Myron Keith Mikkel Battle Hill Lowery. Now, that deals with our heritage of our family. And when he was growing up, he didn't want to use all those names. He didn't even like Myron. So he uses Mikkel. So my legacy is leaving something for my son as a role model for other people in this community to realize that you've got to help others, the less fortunate. That's what we're put here for, to help others and to be a public servant. I didn't mention a couple things, but let me mention this now. For years, African Americans have been discriminated against, and I believe that everyone should fight this because it still happens today. When I was a reporter at Channel 5, I couldn't get promoted. Regardless of my good work, I couldn't get promoted. And I told the general manager, I'm going to sue the company if I don't. They didn't promote me. I did sue, and I won. It took 7 years, but I won. I didn't tell you about my career at FedEx in communications as a manager. I did everything right, but I couldn't get promoted at FedEx from a manager year on up. So I sued them. I won. It didn't go to court. I settled. But I tell everyone who feels discriminated against, document your case, do your homework, and fight. Fight discrimination. That's the only way that it's going to be made better for others. As a result of my lawsuit against WMC TV, many more African Americans are now working in the business with contracts and with benefits that I didn't have. As a result of my lawsuit, other people are benefiting at FedEx. So, again, fight discrimination. You ask about my legacy. My legacy is one of public service and one who tries to help others. Thank you so much.
I'm Mary Elizabeth Jones. I was born and raised in this historic sacred place, the historic Orange Mound community. I was born on August the 25th, 1936. I was the firstborn to my mother and father, who had been married 10 years before they had a baby. So a great big extended family welcomed me in the world on a very famous street in Orange Mound at 672 Marshall Mill. My life span has I've been careers in medical records, careers in business, and now I was honored as being the honorary historian of this historic Orange Mound community by Mayor Dr. 2018. And I love the place. It's just a sacred place to me. Growing up as a little girl, I knew everybody from Haynes East to Airways West. Growing up here, I lived on the east end, what was called 2866 Douglas. We moved from Marshall Mill to Douglas when I was 6 years old. We still live in that home house, which has been 7 to 8 years ago, because I was 84 on the 25th of August in 2020. And growing up on the east end, there was a POW, German POW camp where they kept the German prisoners. But we could go and talk to them in the fence, and we got to know some of them, and they would teach us a little German, and we would teach them a little English. And the guy, Beatrice Randolph, who worked at Gillespie's store on Inez, he would deliver groceries over there. And it was a story came out in the Commercial Appeal where one of the German POW prisoners, he liked Orange Mound in Memphis, and we treated him so well that when he got back home, he wanted to come back and visit. I attended Melrose High School. After I didn't go right on to college. I went to practical nursing school. Then I went to medical record school. When I went to medical record school, I was the director of medical records first job at the Missouri Pacific Hospital in St. Louis. Then I was hired as the director of as assistant director of medical records at Meharry Hospital, and then I was promoted to the director. I was at Meharry when Medicare and Medicaid came out, so I was very much involved in structuring their program. And after that, I was hired at St. Jude as the assistant director, and then I was promoted to the director of medical records at St. Jude. And then there is a hospital, a new facility, psychiatric drug rehab facility. It was called Lakeside, and I knew Dr. Knott and Dr. Finch, and they hired me to be their consultant and the medical record coordinator for that program. So I worked in medical records for years, and then I decided to go to college because I always wanted to go to college. So in 1980, after my father died, I enrolled at Lemoyne. I received my bachelor's degree in philosophy in 1984, bachelor's degree in philosophy and African American Studies. While I was there, I received the S.A. Owens Prestigious Scholarship Award, and I was a candidate for the Truman Literature Award, and one of my professors said the only reason why I didn't get it because I was so much of an activist and I just didn't want to join AKA.
Tell me this here. What makes you want to get involved with the history of, or what makes you want to get involved with telling the history of Orange Mound?
Oh, because it's such a wonderful, special place. And I knew so many people that did so many wonderful things. From Sunday school to Bible school to high school, we had, like when I was in the 8th grade, we had like Mr. Beckham. And of course, for those of you, it was segregated. You're very much segregated. But Mr. Beckham said, don't ever worry about that. What we had to do to learn about Bach, Mozart, we had to go home on Sundays and he let our parents know the New York Philharmonic Symphony Orchestra would come on the radio every Sunday evening at 3. All of the kids who went to Melrose, and some of the material is in there now, we had to listen to the New York Symphony Orchestra. And as a result of listening to the New York Symphony Orchestra, we used to have to know about the composers, we had to know about the instruments, we had to know everything about them. So and then he would play their records in the class, so we knew about it. We had to learn how to debate here. We had to learn how to do community work. We had to do things for the people in the community. I love this place. There's not a person, when I was growing up, from Haynes to Airways, that I couldn't tell you somebody on that street and some specialty of food that they cook, because you could go to anybody's house and always get something good to eat or some loving, caring, nurturing kind of thing. It was so special. It's really a sacred place. Oh, when I started first grade, I was in Miss Stout's room, and we had this, it was a book called, wasn't Jeff? It was certainly a book called Spot. It was something about a doll called Spot. And she was so nurturing, and she was so caring, my first grade teacher. Well, all of my teachers was great. Miss Stout was my first grade teacher. Miss Randall was my second grade teacher. Miss Silvers was my third grade teacher. Miss Reed was my fourth grade teacher. Miss Overton, about Miss Overton, this is special. She was our fifth grade teacher. So they told us that she had been hired to be the principal at a school downtown that they built, a Quaker school or something like that. And so by working with my grandmother, see, everybody here was always doing something in the community. So my grandmother was very active in getting people to vote and getting petitions up together and everything. So I would go with all the time. So when we found out that Miss Overton was going to leave us and go downtown, I got my friends together and we got petitions together and took it to Principal Springer to try to keep Miss Overton at Melrose. So that was in the 5th grade. Then with the 6th grade with Miss Thomas, and then in the 7th grade, Miss Irma Clanton, who later became the theater director, first African-American theater in drama and theater at the University of Memphis, where she gave us a 7th grade prom. They taught us etiquette, how to act, how to dress, and things like that. So then, going to the prom, though, we were silly. I remember this very well. We all dressed up and got pretty dresses, and she taught the boys how to escort us and everything, but the boys was walking behind us, laughing at us as we was trying to adjust ourselves at high heels. So that was a good thing. So, and then, when I got to high school, everybody in my family sewed because I came from this extended family of seamsters. So when I got to high school, Miss Frazier, who was my teacher, she would help me, because I said, Miss Frazier, I don't like sewing. Okay, so we had to cook for the football boys. So she said, well, okay, Mary Elizabeth, you can cook for the football boys, but if you don't like sewing, make an apron, because I already knew how to make an apron. My grandmother had told me how to do that. So I made an apron, and so Miss Frazier made me her assistant.
That's cool.
Because I didn't have to sew, but I did have to cook. And what we'd cook for the football boys would be navy beans and fatback and cornbread. Well, I can see it evolving as far as aesthetics is concerned. I can see it evolving into something where it's kept neat and the houses that are dilapidated fixed up. I can see that, but I couldn't see it looking like a Germantown or even a Central, because see, it's more than just the physical appearance of a place. You have to really understand the synergy, the energy, and the spirit of a place. On these walls in here are 6 churches that are over 100 years old that came out of history, came out of slavery, from the history of the Deadwood Plantation. Generations of people just like me are still attend those churches. So you could never capture in a picture the love, the synergy, the energy, but you can feel it. But you can make a difference in the aesthetic appearance of the community of houses and things like that. But as far as changing the emotions, the ties, the knowledge, all those people that you see in there, we all grew up together at different churches. And it's nothing, just like you all are here now, and they have met you. Any of those people in there, if you wanted anything that you needed, oh, my tire ran out of gas, I did this or that. You met them, you called them, they're there. And it came from our lineage, our ancestry. I want to extend my sincere gratitude to the Shelby County Register of Deeds. Ms. Shelandra Ford is a Register of Deeds, but the Shelby County Archive person who was very near and dear to me, and also from Orange Mound, was Ms. Glenda Moore. I want to thank Ms. Deidre Fisher. I want to thank Mr. Myron Mays. I want to thank Mr. Frank Stewart and all of the persons who made this particular event possible, and your vision for sharing the history of the great contributions of African Americans to Shelby County is just profound. So I thank you very, very much for including me in such a manner.